this is why you love the postseason in baseball. You had the Mets trying to win a tough game on the road in Game 5 against the Los Angeles Dodgers. You saw Cole Hamels put forth a good effort last night, and then everything just fell by the wayside for Texas. I mean, you feel bad for them against Toronto. And then you've got Kansas City doing their thing. So, it was an unbelievable just postseason thus far, and it's really starting to heat up. Steve Gardner covers baseball for USA Today on his way to Kansas City, I believe, kind enough to join us for a couple moments. How are you, my friend?
Doing good, Rich. A little layover in Atlanta, and then on to KC.
Did you ever see a seventh inning quite like last night? I mean, 4 errors in one inning. I've never seen a situation where the catcher's throwing back the ball to the mound and it hits off a bat. And the presence of mind, too, to try to run and take the run on that one and score the run. I mean, that was just a bizarre game as a whole last night in Toronto.
Yeah, that was I've never seen anything anywhere close to that bizarre of an inning. I think it was 53 minutes in terms of actual time to play that thing. It had just about everything from the protest. The game was to be played under protest, and then Elvis Andrus couldn't seem to catch the ball either. That it was crazy. And then the big home run, the bat flip, the controversy there. Was he staring down the pitcher or not, or was he staring at the home run? Benches emptying 3 different times. You can't. They say when you go to the ballpark, you never know what you're going to see. That was definitely proof positive of that. Listen,
let's call it what it is. I mean, Texas they choked in that inning. They did not. I just don't think they understood the situation they were in. And sometimes it happens in a baseball game. You have one error. You have a dribbler down the third base line. Maybe you don't pick it up cleanly. Maybe you have a throw where it pulls somebody off the bag, and they just implode it. You feel bad for Hamels because they brought him in for that situation. I didn't think he pitched that bad. And as far as you mentioned Bautista, I had absolutely no problem with the bat flip, to be honest with you. I typically don't like those histrionics, so to speak. But, hey, Toronto hasn't been there since 92, 93. That was a huge home run. He's been a clutch player for them. How are you handicapping Kansas City and Toronto right now?
It's going to be fantastic. And we've seen this playoffs, we've seen it go the full 5 games in all but one series, and that went 4. I think this has the makings of a series that's going to go 6 or 7. It's going to be Kansas City having been there before last year, a lot of the same cast of characters, the same strength, and Toronto, different as you can get in terms of team makeup. Kansas City, the contact hitting team, the Blue Jays, the power team. It's just fascinating. And I have to think that Toronto has seemed to show that when they really need it, like in the 7th inning, they're able to turn that power on and get offense from somewhere. And whether it's Encarnacion, whether it's Bautista, whether it's Josh Donaldson, or any of the other guys in that lineup, I think that's going to end up being the difference. But, boy, how much fun is it going to be to watch the Kansas City bullpen throwing 100 miles an hour and those Blue Jays sluggers, in the 8th and 9th innings? That's going to be a treat.
Yeah, I mean, you love those matchups, too, on paper. I know we only have a couple minutes before I have to let you get out of here. I do appreciate the time, as always. Let's go to the Mets and the Dodgers, and let me get your initial thoughts. I mean, we are past it, but still, it is a story that's kind of buzzing around baseball. The Utley slide into the Hada, and, just the on the premise of neighborhood play. I said this the other day on the air. Don Mattingly, if Don Mattingly claimed to not know the rule, then he has to understand you can't really ask for a review or replay in that situation. But be that as it may, what was your first initial reaction when you saw that play? Was it clean, or was it a dirty baseball play?
My first reaction is that it was a dirty play, but I think that's partly because of what happened, the injury, the broken leg. I think that we have to focus on the play itself and not the result. And as it turns out, I think they need to change the rule to where the player has to be able to touch the bag. If he's going out of his way and out of the baseline to go directly at the fielder, I think that should be declared illegal. If we're protecting catchers, we need to protect middle infielders too. So I think that's the rule that needs to be tweaked. As for suspending Utley in the middle of the playoffs without any prior warning or anything like that, I think that's going overboard, and I think that's the product of Ruben Tejada getting hurt. And so I think if we could change the rule in the off season, I think that's the best way to handle it.
It's a fair point, and I can't argue with that point. Hey, listen, Kershaw pitched an absolute gem. I give him his just due. It's amazing how they scored 13-1 right, and then on short rest you throw Kershaw out there, and he just had – I don't even think that was his best stuff, but yet it was an absolute gem. How about the expectation tonight, DeGrom and Greinke? And I have to give the edge. I mean, this is the spot you like DeGrom in. You like Jacob DeGrom here, who I think has pitched – I can argue has pitched more consistent and better than Zach Greinke has this year.
Yeah, although Greinke has been so good. I mean, the ERA is the best in the majors this year. DeGrom has been maybe more dominant, but Greinke has been so consistent. I think this is one of those where you see how long you can go with the pitchers. I think the Mets may pull DeGrom a little bit earlier. I think the Dodgers need Greinke to go a little bit further so that they don't get to the soft underbelly of the non-Hatcher, non-Jansen relievers. If Greinke can give him 7, I like the Dodgers' chances just a little bit better playing at home.
Yeah, I'll say this to close it out. To me, whatever manager I am respectively tonight, especially if I'm Collins, it's not a short leash with DeGrom, but once you fall behind 2 runs, that's it. I pull you. I don't care if it's 4 innings, if it's 3 innings, if it's 5 innings. I have to make the decision right there on the spot. To me, it's a 2-run leash, so to speak, and that's it.
And I think, too, Rich, it's the pinch hitting that's going to be the key. I mean, DeGrom's not a bad hitter, but and Greinke's not a bad hitter, actually, for that matter, either. But I think you need to watch when those guys, if the team's behind and the pitcher comes up after the 5th inning, you've got to pinch hit for them because you can't waste outs, and you only get so many of them.
That's right.
And when you get to the final 9 or 12, you've got to make the best use of every single one you have.
Yeah, and
there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, you get 27 outs in Kansas City last year. We saw it. They were able to scratch out some runs, steal some bases, play small ball, and it helped them get to the World Series. We'll see if the Mets use that formula tonight. All right, I know you're at the airport. I appreciate it. We'll talk next week. We'll break down the NL and the ALCS, my friend.
Sounds great, Rich.
All right, you got it. You got it. Steve Garner from USA Today.